All right, so I am just gonna get through this with you guys together because it has taken me a minute to start another video. My overthinking is out of fucking control lately, and it's because I feel, well, at least my interpretation. Ugh, you guys are gonna overthink through this with me together because I just gotta get this shit out. It took me forever to even hit the play button on this shit or record, whatever. I was sitting up, I was sitting up, standing down. Yeah, see, I can't even have like a fluid, coherent thought, and this is what many of us call anxiety. And I really don't like to say that I have anxiety just because of like how people define it today. And for me, it's just kind of taken out of context, kind of like the I love you. Like everybody just says that, don't really mean it. People say a lot of things they don't mean all the time. My heart is racing right now. Thanks for overthinking this with me, guys. Or at least just seeing what it looks like, because this is paralyzing in a sense that it absolutely is paralyzing. I started my Genspiration thing in May, and I have been overthinking the hell out of how I want it to be and what I want it to look like. And, I work on it here and I work on it there, but every time I work on it, I'm just editing it like as I'm working on it. And it's always just need something more, or it just takes me forever to get something done. And then I kind of get discouraged because I realize that it's not the flow that I intended for it, and without really taking into consideration that I'm the one who is forcing myself to flow in that direction, even though it feels right to be flowing in that direction, and I know that's the direction I want to be going in. Oh, I think this feels good. I'm getting this out. Things are connecting. I'm kind of thinking of like, I work again on a restaurant at the Banana Boat on the Intracoastal. And I watch the, things float by all the time, the boats, whatever. But it got me thinking the other day that even though and I think I talked about this, always coming full circle, learning a little bit more every time. If you're flowing, you're in the direction you want to be flowing in, but you're running in that direction, we're not really taking into consideration all the things that we're seeing on the way that could teach us something. It's almost like trying to take a shortcut to your purpose or to where you're going, which ultimately comes again to the idea of hurry up and wait. We are a big culture of hurry up and wait. It came to me today. I went and got a massage because I've been really tense and I hold it all in my shoulders and my middle, the middle of my back. And it just kind of has been getting worse. So I did that today, but I had signed up for this massage package because I wanted to force myself to get a massage like more frequently, because I know they're supposed to be really good for you. And so I knew that I kind of wasn't going to do that, and that's exactly what happened. I stacked them up and then realized, like, let me just cancel this shit because they're charging me $60 a month and I'm not fucking using them. So once you cancel, you have like 2 months to use, and I had like 6 of them stacked up because I've been overthinking shit for whatever. I've just been doing whatever for 6 months. That's besides the point. Overthinking this again. Anyway, so I find myself not really liking massages because I can't ever relax during the massage. And this time I was kind of trying to find a different way to utilize my overthinking. I know that I do it, and I like to justify it and make an excuse for it. So intellectualizing is a pretty big defense mechanism, and I'm a master intellectualizer. 1, it makes me feel intelligent, and 2, it gives me the excuse to say, well, I thought more about it, and, maybe you need to give it more thought. And I kind of get myself off the hook by knowing that I gave it a lot of thought, but at the same time, what kind of thought am I giving to it? If we're going to be something, be intentional with it, be what you want to be with it, not, you know, what the feeling you get when it comes up for you, how you're judging yourself for doing that thing. If that made any kind of sense, we're going to get through this together. Sometimes you got to do that, a lot of times. Nature doesn't overthink. Well, it does overthink. So let me take that back for a second. Nature overthinks, for me, and my understanding is the sense that like through floods and hurricanes and avalanches and earthquakes, you know, it's kind of like a buildup of little tensions and little things that just kind of explodes all at one. And that's a way of overthinking. And once that happens, balance can be restored again. And I've been, you know, thinking a lot about balance, kind of trying to really pay attention and be intentional with how I'm balancing myself. And when I'm doing that, I was, you know, for a little while there, I was like on a high. People call it mania or manic. If you have a bipolar disorder or any other kind of like mental health issue that we, or the black and white textbooks define as a disorder. To me, it's a lot of different things and could just be mismanaged or unmanaged thoughts and feelings that just kind of bleed into one another. Kind of like this, because I sound probably crazy right now and I probably don't make a lot of sense, but this is exactly what overthinking looks like. It doesn't really give us an answer. It just kind of spins us in circles, and it makes our thoughts seem like a tornado. It sounds crazy. It feels crazy. It's kind of not understandable. And I know I'm jumping all over the place right now, and I know that I'll probably make another video after I get all this out, but this is everything that I've been not getting out in these past couple of days, or at least getting out in a way that I think I'm getting them out, because I'm judging them and filtering through my perception and then spitting them out to the people that are willing to listen. But when I had to sit with when I chose to lay with my thoughts in that massage room earlier today, it was taking me away from the experience that I chose to be in order to relax. I, made the appointment so that I could release some of the tension in my shoulders and my neck, and I told her to focus on that, and I told her not to dig deep. I just want to relax, and she was doing great. And I usually during a massage, I'm thinking about like how much they're kind of hurting me because they're fucking digging, and I like that though. I realize that I thrive on pressure, and I am a very strong-willed person, and that's me personally. Other people have different things that they feel strongly about, and that's okay. It's okay for everybody, because if everybody was strong-willed, there would be a lot more anger in this world, I'm sure. So we need everybody to do their own thing in their own power to balance out everything. But I digress, and I'm going to come back to it, because this is what I kept trying to do my whole massage, was really think about, once I let my mind go, I was kind of paying attention and just like hovering above and watching, paying attention to where it was going, what I was thinking about, what I was trying to intellectualize, how I was talking to myself about what I was recognizing. I was being really harsh and just trying to force myself to stand back in line. And when I say that, I'm talking about focus on the here and now, and pay attention to, her hand going up and down my back, trying to release that tension, because I was resisting physically as well. When I paid attention to it, my shoulders relaxed. I could feel like, but my muscles in my back kind of let down a little bit. I was able to breathe into my belly and not just into my chest, which is a big, indicator that we're anxious or in our head or overthinking. When you're shallow breathing, when we breathe into our belly, it's much more intentional, and it brings a lot of calmness. If you've never really looked into belly breathing or any kind of conscious breathing, I would encourage you to do so, because you have your breath with you wherever you go. And it also is something that it goes along with overthinking. That just came to me. When we're overthinking, we're breathing shallow. We're breathing probably rapidly too, short breaths, just like our thoughts. They don't really have anywhere that they land. They just kind of shoot all over the place like chaos. And we're a big culture of that as well. We thrive on energy drinks, we thrive on coffee and uppers. And once we get up there, we can do whatever we do with it and feel however we feel about it. But there's always the somewhat urge to go back down to homeostasis, go back down to somewhat normalcy, if you will. And we're in this big energy of push and pull, where we've almost like glorified the ride of it in like a sadistic kind of way. Drugs and alcohol is another way that we do that. Addiction to chaos, addiction in general, chasing that, whatever it is, that feel good, whether you're addicted to video games or drugs or alcohol or even working out or figuring things out. I mean, we can be addicted to anything. Addicted is really just the idea that when we don't do the behavior that we're addicted to or think the thought that we're addicted to, we have some sort of withdrawal effect. And that is in the form of anxiety, uncomfortability, desire to go back to that comfort zone, go back to what we were just doing that was kind of feeding that feel-good chemical in us, even though we might have known like it was not really feeding our soul. We were just kind of in our head making excuses, justifying why we're doing what we're doing. If we have to pull all these strings, mentally to be able to accept the behaviors or the thoughts that we're allowing ourselves to have and do, we're our own puppet master. And when we have this invisible paradox within us, we can, I'm trying to say this, like, it's the idea that we almost like rebel against ourselves. Self-sabotage. What's up? Self-fucking sabotage. There it is. Ugh. When we go on a diet or choose a healthy lifestyle, why do we say that we're going to have a cookie, treat yourself? Like, go eat some cheese, treat yourself. Like, go have a piece of cake, treat yourself. Like, what the fuck? Why would we treat ourselves with something that we just tried to put all our energy in to change about ourselves? And I'm not just talking about diet, I'm talking about anything. Like, when we are fighting against and I say evil spirit, but it's, when I think about that, I'm talking about like negativity in general, victimization, that circumstance that we feel like we don't have the power that we really do, that we have not tapped in. We are unaware of our power. And I don't want to use the word control, because control, actually I will use the word control because it came right into my mouth. And control is, to me, what evil thrives on, what that negative energy thrives on. And when we're not in control, we act irrationally and we do all kinds of things. I mean, I could go on about this forever, but I really want to tie it into the idea that when we're trying too hard to control something, kind of like me trying to control my overthinking. If I'm going to be an overthinker, instead of trying to control whether or not I'm doing it, I want to be looking at what I'm doing with it. If I'm going to be an overthinker at all, at least be, like I said earlier, going in the direction of something that's going to bring back positive feedback. Make my ripple a positive one so that I can learn from it when it comes back. Not to say we can't learn from bad things. Don't get confused, because those are the best teachers. But, overthinking it again. So that's exactly it, is I try to be all inclusive with my mind. And so when we do that and we don't just, keep our head in the clouds and daydream all day, we open ourselves to the possibility of what does that other side want. And that's fine. We have to, because if we're going to be, people condemn people as ignorant, myself included, when we see people refusing to see another side of something, or at least just understand a different reality or a different truth. And the the more we try to force that to happen or force them to see our side of it, the more we are reminded that we are not in control of everyone or anything but what we believe and what we choose to see. Sorry, I drank kombucha. I'm gassy. And so, once we kind of really take the opportunity to manage our power, because we don't want to say that we can't be powerful, because that also brings a negative connotation. We put synonymous power and control. But I would say that we are the most powerful when we are realizing what we're not in control of, because that's when we free ourselves up to really work on ourselves with full intention. When we're giving so much energy to things outside of ourselves that we don't have control of, we're really using that as a distraction because we don't fully believe in our power. We don't really see the results of us really fully 100,000% focusing on living every moment intentionally as possible, our intention, and really questioning where our intention comes from. I believe that we all have the good inside of us. We just have to water it every day and, really nurture it. And, so the idea that even something like that the yin yang, I looked it up and I was surprised that yin is the dark side, because yin yoga is the shit and it's all about relaxation. And I would figure that would be the light side. But, just another paradoxical understanding, I guess. One can't really exist without the other. You have to have the dark and the light. It's the one, I think I saw a quote the other day that would say, darkness is just the absence of light. Yeah, darkness is the absence of light. And that's exactly it. I mean, right? That makes sense, right? I don't even really have to explain that. That makes complete sense. To me, it's always there. One cannot exist without the other. I don't really know. I don't want to get lost in that explanation right now because I'm overthinking it. Theme of my life lately. And nature versus nurture. You know what? I'm going to end this here because I'm going to overthink another thing. No. I wrote this down for a fucking reason. Overthinking versus mindfulness. That was my damn point. My overthinking is not going to make me shut this damn video off. Overthinking versus mindfulness. Nature versus nurture. Why the versus? One cannot exist without the other. If we choose to reframe the idea of overthinking to mindfulness, we can understand that, well, of course we want to be mindful, but we don't want to overthink. Well, what's the damn difference? To me, the difference is in the connotation of the word, the understanding that we're given, that overthinking causes anxiety, paranoia. It's overthinking in a way of, it's worry. It's anxiety, creating that uncomfortable feeling where our heart is racing and we're actually imagining all the bad things, all the shit that's going to happen, everything that's not going to work out, all the things that people aren't going to like about it and everything that's going to go wrong. And so it's, again, if we're going to do it at all, let's do it in a positive direction. So instead of overthinking and using that dark side, why don't we just be mindful? It's the same exact thing, but start daydreaming about what, how we want to be responding emotionally to situations and how we want to be thinking about situations. And when our mind gets racing too fast, that's kind of an indicator that we're running down the flow, or we're speeding down that flow or up that flow. And if we can just slow our thoughts down, breathe, take a moment, breathe. There's a reason that we all do this. Take a moment, breathe, and you can relax. It slows down your thoughts. And for me, writing is a big thing. I always tell people, and I always told my clients to write things down, write your thoughts down. Like, that's journaling to me, is literally writing everything that comes to your mind. It doesn't have to make sense. You don't have to have any subject or go anywhere. But, and the thing that I would get back is my brain moves too fast for my hand to write. And yeah, that's exactly the point of writing, is to train your brain to stop putting the cart before the horse. Stop hurrying up and waiting. We're in such a hurry to get where we're going that we're not even paying attention to how we're getting there. So to practice writing your thoughts down is to practice, being able to actually look at them. When we look at something fast, it's why we do a double take, things like you look at something and you don't see it the first time you look at it if you look at it really fast, but if you look again and you look again, you see something different maybe every time you look at it. And that's what overthinking kind of is. It's just like flipping through skimming through thoughts really quickly, not grounding yourself in anything. And that's where the answers are, is when we root ourselves into an understanding that feels good for us, because we've taken the time to evaluate our thoughts and evaluate, which ones we want to nurture, because nature is both, good and bad. It's, everything has an opposite side, and, nature versus nurture, it's nature and nurture, like overthinking and being mindful. It's one and the other. It just depends on the energy that you're giving to it and where we're going with it and what we're getting out of it. That determines, like what kind of feelings we're getting and going with and whatever. I'm overthinking that. You get it? All right. I'll probably polish this up in another video, but if you made it through this, thanks. Wow. That was a mouthful and a brainful, and I needed that. And this is what the process looks like. And this is what I want people to understand and see, that when we're doing this and we're going through this, that it's really dangerous to keep it in our head, because we are the ones who are judging ourselves for these inner thoughts. And when we allow vulnerability to shine light on what we think, that's when we're able to see a different side of something. We have our own flashlight, our own view, if you will, our own headlights. And when somebody else shines their headlights on it, you kind of see like a bigger picture. And it's the same thing as zooming in and out. Like when we are fixated on a problem or fixated on something and are only using our viewpoint because we can't take in other people's, or we don't want to take in other people's perspectives, that's calculation, that's manipulation, that's lying by omission to yourself, really. That's what creates denial. Accountability is a really good thing to have. And most people, when they have an agenda of their own and they really don't want to be challenged on it because they're afraid, any reason, we do things in silence. And to me, doing things in silence is kind of cowardly. Nature doesn't work alone. We would do best if we asked for the support of, everything that's around us and in support of us. It's not helpful for us to reach out to people that are constantly raining on our parade, if you will. God, there's just so many ideas in my head right now. I got to spit these all out, but I'm going to try to keep this together and fluid. This will evolve. This is a whole to bring into to be woke or whatever. This is part of it. It's a whole process of waking up. It's a never-ending journey of constantly trying to remain awake to your power of choice. I like that. All right, well, I'm going to fucking end it right there. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for coming to my Gen Talk and overthinking the fucking shit out of this. I needed that. I'm breathing again deeper. I'm going to come back with a polisher upper. Thanks for hanging in there, party people.